Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In the two videos that I am sharing on my channel today, we are going to be discussing some initial post-burn reviews of some new candles that are launching over at Kringle Candle on Thursday, December 4th at noon Eastern. So in this first video here, I'll be sharing my post-burn, initial post-burn reviews, if you will, of the Kringle Reserve winter collection, I guess you could say. So in this particular release, we are going to see the Smoldering Embers, the Almost Midnight, and the Ice fragrance. In the video that goes up later on this afternoon, I will share my initial post-burn reviews of what Kringle is calling the Winter Flight Collection, which contains the Frosted Dawn, the Parisian Frost, and the Snowy Cascade. Normally, I like to film these reviews individually, but because this launch is happening pretty quickly, I decided to go ahead and just group the three candles together for each of these two videos. So I will address each fragrance individually, the strength and throw, and if there were any burn issues. So I'll just try to be a little bit more brief with each of my descriptions so that these videos don't get too horrifically long. So if you're not subscribed already and you are interested in seeing my thoughts on the Winter Flight Collection, which is going live a little bit later on today, make sure you hit that subscribe button right below the video here. That will notify you of that video as soon as it goes live here on my channel. If you are interested in these, again, they're essentially launching tomorrow. I tried to get these videos up at least the day before the launch. So I'll have a link at the top of the description box. These will not appear on the website until they are actually live. You can use my discount code Melanie15. I'll also put an annotation and put that information in the description box. If you don't have any rewards to be able to apply to any of these candles, if you happen to be interested in them, you can use my discount code to save yourself at least 15% off. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and dive into these three fragrances. So let's see what I think about these first three here. There are one that I really enjoy, one that I surprisingly enjoy, and there's one that I'm a little bit like about. So let's kind of figure out which of these fall into those different categories for me. So let's get into it. All right, the first fragrance that I am going to tackle in this video is going to be the Smoldering Embers. I'm gonna go ahead and read the top, middle, and base notes to you. I'm gonna tell you what I smell in the fragrance. I will address the strength and the throw, and then lastly, if there were any burn issues. I have burned all three of these candles a minimum of at least four, actually it's probably been at least 5 separate burns each. Each of the burns were a minimum of 3 hours. So I think I've had a decent amount of time with each of these scents. So anyway, for what it's worth, that's how we're gonna handle these reviews here. Okay, so the top notes for Smoldering Embers are lemon, orange, anise, and green. The mid notes are vanilla, lavender, and birch. At the base, we have smoky, leather, sandalwood, and cedar. Okay, there are definitely some things listed here that I very much smell, and there are, quite frankly, a lot of things listed here that I do not smell at all. This, to my nose, smells like a very straightforward fragrance. And if you look at the picture on the label there, if you just imagine like standing right over those coals and like those really like flaming red hot coals, and then taking a deep breath. I mean, this is definitely, it's very accurate to what the picture is. But do I smell any lemon, orange, anise, or green? No, those are all the top notes. I don't smell a single one of those. Let's go to the middle notes. Vanilla, lavender, and birch. I don't smell a single one of those notes. But let's go to the base. Smoky, leather, sandalwood, and cedar. Okay, I do definitely smell some of these notes. Specifically the smoky. First and foremost, this is a very smoky and like heavy smoke, and not like the liquid smoke that you maybe have smelled in, I don't know, I feel like maybe the smoke that's in Warm and Toasty smells a little bit more like liquid smoke to me, whereas the smoky note here is 100% like red hot coals smokiness. It's like you're sticking your nose into a fireplace, and a fireplace that has been burning for hours and hours. Like the wood has created really hot coals, and the smoke that's coming off of those coals, that is the smokiness here. It's definitely not a liquid smoke. It is a like burnt, woody, like coal smoke. So, do I smell some leather in here? Oddly enough, I do get a little bit of that. It smells more like a deep, like mahogany type leather note. It's not a, like a white leather, something light and airy. The leather note here is also very deep, very dark, kind of oppressive almost in a way. Like it's really potent. I do not smell sandalwood though, so that's not a thing. But I do also get a little bit of cedar here. Not a ton, but it is there. So predominantly this fragrance is smoky. Very hearth-like, if you will, and a bit leathery at the same time. This is, honestly, it's a little too smoky for me. I feel like Kringle has done some smoky scents in the past that have definitely been a lot more, I guess, appealing to my nose because they weren't quite so intense. But the smoky level here is literally like, I mean, if a picture could put off a scent, it would be what is on the label here. Like, red hot coals is what you are smelling, and it is intense. Now, if you want that kind of like smoky fireplace, hearthy type fragrance in your house for around the holidays or the New Year's, definitely you should give this one a try because it will give you that in spades. The strength and throw of this Smoldering Embers, you guys, it is really potent. It is a solid 8 in terms of strength. I would probably put it right around there for throw as well. I have burned this inside my house, and honestly, it kind of takes over any other fragrance that I have had burning alongside this. Like, this was all that I could personally notice. That could be partially due to the fact that this is just a little more smoky than I would normally care for. But also just due to the fact that it's just it's created in a very potent way. Listen, if you really want to like experience a smoky candle, you can't go wrong with this one, but I will say it is potent. So just make sure that you are good with that. It is only available in this 2-wick size. All 3 of these candles are only coming in these 2-wick jars here. So yeah, so that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a very strong, very smoky, slightly leathery, like mahogany leather type situation. That is what Smoldering Embers is. Have I had any burn issues with it? Absolutely not. It has burned very well. No issues with the wicks, no issues with the wax. Just a good solid performance in terms of the overall burn quality. So I would say that out of the three, because I know you guys love a ranking system, the Smoldering Embers is my least favorite. Honestly, for me, this is just way too strong. It's way too just aggressive with the smoky note. This is one of those where I'm good with the one that Kringle kindly sent my way. I will continue to burn this, but I am going to burn this outside in our backyard. I think it'll be a nice fragrance to experience outdoors where it can maybe be diffused a little bit with some fresh air. But inside the house, honestly, you guys, this one has been a lot. It's a little too smoky for my liking. Okay, next, let's go with Ice, which is my, I guess you could say, second favorite of this launch here. So you might be kind of surprised that like I don't absolutely dislike Ice. Is it one where I'm gonna have to buy multiples of it? No, absolutely not. And I do still think it smells a little bit like a cleaning product, just a little tiny bit. There's also one from the Winter Flight that I think also smells a little bit like a cleaning product, but I actually think this one has been, I would say, borderline enjoyable. So let's go through the notes here. So the notes for Ice are, at the top we have Icy Mint. I know. It's normally I don't like mint at all, but it's actually okay in here. At least post-burn. We have Evergreen Forest and Crisp Apple. So those are your top notes. The mid notes are Frozen River Edge, which that's not a thing. Hyacinth and Warm Cinnamon. And then at the base, we have Snowy Sandalwood, Cedarwood, and Sugary Vanilla. Okay, so with this one here, I do get a decent dose of mint. It's not peppermint. I would say it's more so like, maybe a spearmint. Yeah, I'm gonna go with spearmint there, but definitely a very cool spearmint. I do smell a little bit of like an evergreen type note for sure. So there is a little bit of a tree note here, and there is a slight apple note. It's like a sweet, just hint of apple at the top. It's not, I wish the apple was a little bit stronger, and maybe if it could tone down that mint a little bit, that would be amazing, but the apple isn't quite strong enough to be able to do that. So the mint really here at the top is the star of the show. So if you typically don't like mint scents, it's quite prominent in here. As I've said, I've actually borderline enjoyed this one despite not being a mint liking person normally, but there's a lot of other stuff which kind of helps to balance the mint. So I don't know. If you want to take a chance on it, take a chance on it. But the Frozen River's Edge, yeah, I don't know. That's not a smell. So I'm not going to comment on that. Hyacinth, I do smell some hyacinth in here, and hyacinth is kind of a potent, like sweet type of floral note, and you can definitely detect it in here. I also definitely smell a little bit of a cinnamon. It is like a Ceylon bakery cinnamon. Also, I'm really sorry that it's so dark in here right now. I'm actually filming this after coming home from work. I think it's only like maybe 4:30 right now, but it's already getting dark out. Anyway, enjoy the ambiance. So yeah, a little bit of like a nice Ceylon cinnamon for sure. With this one, I can smell the sandalwood at the base. The sandalwood is really nice. I think it adds a little bit of balance and just a little bit of woodiness to this one, but like a light woodiness, right? There is cedarwood in here as well. The cedarwood is more prominent than the sandalwood, so most people are probably going to notice that more so than the sandalwood. And again, the sugary vanilla, I wouldn't say so much vanilla, but like sugary, yes. Like there is an overall sweetness to this one. The hyacinth I mentioned has a little bit of sweetness to it, but I think it goes beyond just like the hyacinth for the sweetness in this one. So yeah, overall, it kind of smells a little bit, kind of borderline like a high-end, like, cleaner type product, you know, like something that maybe Caldera would put out. I don't know. But yeah, it is actually, it's a nice, you know what this is nice for? This is nice for a bathroom setting. I would totally put something like this in a guest bath. I haven't really enjoyed this one in the kitchen. I haven't really loved it in any of the other rooms downstairs other than the powder room. I think it's too potent for our powder room. So I've mostly been actually burning this in our master bathroom, which is a larger bathroom. So it doesn't quite come across as overwhelming as it does in the downstairs powder room. But yeah, a little bit like a cleaning product. The strength, I would say a pretty solid 7. The throw, also, I would say a pretty solid 7. It really does want to travel outside of the immediate area where I'm burning it. Is ice a house filler? No, it's not. I wouldn't really consider that one a house filler. I would actually maybe consider smoldering embers to be a little bit more of a house filler. Have I had any burn issues with this one? No, I have not. Yeah, it's burned just as well as the Almost Midnight and the Smoldering Embers. So no problems with the wicks, no discolored wax, no sooting, nothing like that. Good, clean burn, if you will. So that would be my second favorite. That leaves Almost Midnight as the, I guess, #1 favorite out of this particular collection. Now, do I like love Almost Midnight? No. But do I think it's a really pretty fragrance? I do. I like this one a lot, and I think it is a really pretty scent. In fact, I think it would actually be a beautiful fragrance for after the holidays. So with Almost Midnight, after I'm done with this review, I'm gonna extinguish this one, and it is going to go into my backup stash for my January burning, because this is the type of fragrance that I think is kind of nice after the holidays, after all of like the heavy, you know, gourmands or all of the tree scents. Something like this is a nice change of pace. So let's dig into Almost Midnight. And Let There Be Light. Sorry, I figured I would try the overhead lighting because it was getting so dark in here, you guys. I was having trouble reading off of my phone. So anyway, we have some harsh overhead lighting. So we're gonna work with that for the very last review here, which is Almost Midnight. So Almost Midnight is definitely my favorite out of these 3 fragrances for this particular release. Almost Midnight, a lot of people are gonna hate this description, but it is quite perfumey, and Kringle really did do a lot of perfumey scents in 2025. I'm hoping that this is kind of one of the last maybe that we see for a little bit. I think a lot of people are kind of over the perfumey scents at the moment, and we're all like hoping that we see a lot more gourmands from Kringle next year instead of more of these perfumey type of scents. But I will say this Almost Midnight fragrance is really beautiful, and after this review I am actually going to be saving this particular one for January. I actually pretty rarely do that, put candles aside for, you know, future burns. But every once in a while I come across a candle where I think like literally a month from now, this is gonna be perfect. But right now it's not really a good fit for what I have going on. This is not, Almost Midnight is not fitting in with any of my holiday scents because it is quite perfumey and it's also quite floral. So yeah, it's not gonna be for everybody, but if you do like the perfumey scents from Kringle, listen up, because this one I think is really well done. So the top notes are mandarin, bergamot, and melon. The mid notes are neroli, jasmine, and rose. And then at the base we have sandalwood, cedar, patchouli, amber, musk, and vanilla. So let's start with these notes at the top. Do I smell some mandarin in here? Yes, I do. There is just a little hint of citrus. There is definitely a good amount of bergamot here. I do think that that bergamot lends to a little bit of that perfuminess that we're smelling in this one. I don't get much in the way of melon. The tiny bit that I do smell maybe comes across as like a slightly like cantaloupe type vibe maybe. But not like an outright watermelon or anything like that. It's more of like, you know, like a cantaloupe. The mid notes. So we've got a lot of floral here. We have the neroli, the jasmine, and the rose. I actually specifically smell all three of those. The neroli is beautiful. The jasmine is very clean, very bright, just really, really pretty. And the rose is definitely more of like a modern rose. It's not like super powdery or like an old-fashioned Victorian rose. Kind of smells a little bit like just like a pretty hint of like a garden rose. So yeah, some really great florals in here. The base. Okay, the sandalwood I don't actually smell at all. And I also really don't get much in the way of cedar. But listen up. I do smell patchouli. A pretty perfumey patchouli, not dirty hippie patchouli, but there is patchouli here. There's not a ton of it. It doesn't take over the fragrance, but if you are someone who avoids it at all costs, skip this one because it is potent enough for me to like specifically smell it in here, but it's not overwhelming. I actually smell way more amber in this one, and it is that really beautiful, warm, resinous amber that just smells pretty perfumey. I really like the amber, but I do agree. Listen, as much as I love amber, I will definitely agree with what a lot of people have been saying, which is that Kringle has just kind of overused it this year. Like I swear we saw amber in every single collection and multiple times within certain collections, and I don't know if Kringle just got a really good deal on amber oils or what happened, but they went ham on it this past year, and I think a lot of people are really worn out on it. And I do smell a good amount of amber in here, so if you're trying to avoid it, this would not be the fragrance that I would recommend. Do I smell musk? Yeah, there is just kind of an overall really pretty light white musk type note. It's not heavy, it's not oppressive, it's not something that smells, you know, like musty in any kind of way. It's just a nice, like, clean white musk. Maybe go back in time with me. Like, do you guys remember the Jovan white musk? Like the kind of musk that you got in that fragrance. That's what I'm talking about here. Vanilla, not a whole lot. I'm not gonna like mention too much in the way of vanilla. Really, this is more so perfumey, floral. You've got that bergamot. You've got that little hint of citrus in there. You've got the really pretty patchouli. You've got the beautiful amber. This is a nice scent, you guys. I really like this one, and it's one of those that I do think is quite perfect, probably for right after the holidays, and you maybe you're just like, okay, I'm done with all the tree scents, I'm done with all the heavy gourmands, I want something light, I want something pretty. That's where Almost Midnight would come in, I would say. Strength and Throw for Almost Midnight. This, I would say, is probably, I don't want to say it's light. It still has a decent strength, but it's also not like an overly oppressive or like overwhelming type of scent. I would still give it a strength of about a 7, but it's not the same type of like in your face 7 as maybe the Ice is, because I feel like this one just has a lot more like potency to it, the Ice, not the Almost Midnight. But yeah, I would still give it a good solid 7 in terms of strength. The throw, I would say, is a little bit lighter on this one. That I will give a max of about a 6. Does it travel outside of the immediate area where I've been burning it? Yes, but does it travel as far as the other two? No. The throw is a little bit lacking with this one, but also not necessarily a bad thing, because for me, when I burn florals, I would rather have them a little bit more contained, especially if I am burning other types of fragrances in other areas of the house. So Almost Midnight isn't a crazy powerhouse, but it is a kind of nicely noticeable type of fragrance. And for what it is, like a floral, I think that that is perfect. I do enjoy florals now. I used to absolutely hate them, but I have come around to them in recent years. This is the type of floral that I would definitely go for myself. So yeah. No burn issues with this one either. It's been fine in terms of the wicks. I'll just kind of flip some of these around for you. I did just light these right after coming home from work, so some of them haven't even fully pulled out yet, as you can see. But yeah, these burns have been good, you guys. No issues at all. Most of these have been burned, at least I would say just about a third of the way. So I don't anticipate any problems from these going forward. These smoldering embers I'll put out in my backyard. The ice, I think will probably be something that I get a little more use out of after the holidays. This is just not something that I'm really gravitating towards right now. And the Almost Midnight definitely is something that you will be seeing in my weekly home fragrance roundup in January. So we'll revisit that one for sure. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. I don't think there's anything earth-shattering here. I don't anticipate anything selling out of this particular collection. I do think that Frosted Dawn might sell out. But yeah, out of this reserve collection here, I don't think we're gonna have any sellouts. So if you wanted to wait until some other reviews popped out here on YouTube, or if some reviews showed up on the Kringle website, I think you definitely probably have time to allow for that to happen. So, but for what it's worth, there are my thoughts. So, probably around 2 Pacific Standard Time today is when the winter flight reviews will go live. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way that'll pop up in your subscription feed. Let me know if you have any questions about these. Definitely happy to try to answer those before the launch. But like I said, I don't think you have to rush here, at least with these 3. So, all right, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.